Self-doubt isn't a defect. It's a habit, a deeply conditioned response formed over time by repetition, rejection, and the internalization of failure. And here's the thing, no one is born doubting themselves. That's not how children enter the world. Watch a toddler try something new, stacking blocks, running without coordination, babbling nonsense. There's no hesitation. There's no narrative of inadequacy. There's only motion, pure instinctive effort directed at growth. So when we find ourselves paralyzed by self-doubt later in life, we need to understand that this paralysis is learned. And that's both the problem and the solution. Because if something can be learned, it can be unlearned through awareness, discipline, and effort. But unlearning isn't passive. It's not wishful thinking. It requires confrontation. You have to become the observer of your own thought patterns and ask, where did this belief come from? Who told me I wasn't enough? Whose voice is playing on repeat in my head? And most importantly, is it true? More often than not, it's not truth you're wrestling with, it's programming. It's the voice of a father who withheld approval, a teacher who humiliated you, a peer who mocked your ambition. These moments shape you, yes, but they don't have to define you. You're not locked into the identity others projected onto you. The mind is malleable. Neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to rewire itself, proves that change is not just possible, it's inevitable if you engage with intention. Now, I'm not saying belief in yourself means never doubting again. That's not belief, that's delusion. What I'm saying is that true belief emerges in the presence of doubt, not in its absence. It's forged in the fire. When you move forward despite the trembling, despite the voice that says you're not ready, that's when self-trust is born. And that's far more powerful than confidence. Confidence can be faked, self-trust cannot. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard wrote that to dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. To not dare is to lose oneself. That's the choice, isn't it? Live in the safety of limitation or risk stumbling in the pursuit of potential. And that risk is real. You will fail, but better to fail moving forward than to succeed at staying small. So if you want to believe in yourself, stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the fear to disappear. That's not how belief works. Belief is a decision, and it begins when you realize the only thing more dangerous than trying and failing is never trying at all. The self-doubt you carry was given to you, not chosen by you. It's time to return it and choose who you will become instead. Believing in yourself doesn't mean arrogance or delusion. It means acknowledging that you carry potential that must be stewarded, not squandered. You don't get to opt out of your own life just because it's difficult. You matter, and that means your choices matter. Self-belief is a moral stance. Self-belief is a moral stance. It says, I will not waste the breath I've been given. If you don't believe in yourself, you risk becoming a ghost in your own story, present, but not alive. People often think that belief in yourself is some kind of emotional high, inspiration. It's about waking up one day with a surge of confidence or inspiration, ready to take on the world, unimprediations. That's false. That version of belief is fleeting and frankly, unreliable. It comes and goes with your mood, your hormones, or your circumstances. But real belief in yourself, the kind that anchors your actions, that shapes the way you face difficulty, isn't a feeling, it's a responsibility. Why? Because how you see yourself directly impacts how you show up in the world. If you believe you're worthless, you're going to live small. You'll shrink your voice. You'll shrink your voice. You'll sabotage opportunity. And here's the tragedy. You won't just limit yourself. You'll limit everyone around you. Your family, your colleagues, your children, they all feel the effects of your diminished self-regard. So when I say it's a responsibility, I'm not being poetic. I mean it literally. Your belief in yourself is your ethical obligation to your potential. There's something deeply philosophical about this. The existentialists, thinkers like Viktor Frankl and Jean-Paul Sartre, argue that you are not just a passive recipient of identity. You are a creator of meaning. And that meaning is built through choices. The choice to rise, the choice to try, the choice to take ownership of your existence. So when you deny your potential, when you claim that belief is too hard, what you're really doing is rejecting the responsibility of shaping your life. And that has consequences. It breeds resentment. It hardens into apathy. And eventually, it erodes your spirit. And let's not pretend this is easy. It isn't. Taking responsibility for your own belief means confronting every excuse you've ever leaned on. It means admitting that maybe you've been hiding, not because you're weak, but because you're scared. And it means deciding deliberately to carry the weight of who you could be, not just who you've been. That's no small task. But it's the only path forward. There's a line in love. You were not born to sit comfortably in the audience. You were meant to walk onto the stage of your own life. That doesn't mean you'll never stumble. You will. But stumbling forward is still progress. What's not acceptable, not if you want to live with integrity, is refusing to show up at all. So ask yourself honestly, am I living as someone who believes in their own possibility? Or am I waiting for someone else to give me permission to believe? Because no one is coming. No one is going to hand you the life you dream of. That's your job. Believing in yourself isn't a gift you receive. It's a burden you carry. And the moment you choose to carry it, everything begins to change. No one builds confidence in a straight line. Growth is clumsy. It looks like failing in public. Looks like trying, trembling, and trying again. Most people don't believe in themselves because they're waiting to feel confident before they act. But confidence is what comes after you've acted with courage. The version of you you're dreaming of won't emerge in comfort. It will rise from the wreckage of every moment you dared to keep going. One of the most overlooked truths in modern psychology is that your self-concept, the story you tell yourself about who you are, has more impact on your future than almost anything external. We live in a culture that worships circumstances. We point to privilege, hardship, resources, environment, and luck. And yes, those things matter. But they're not the full picture. In fact, they're not even the main factor. Because two people can face the same situation and respond in completely different ways. One will grow and the other will collapse. The difference isn't the event, it's the interpretation of the event. It's the internal framework. If you see yourself as a victim of life will always confirm that. Your mind is not neutral, it's a filter. It takes in what it believes and it ignores what doesn't match. So if your self-concept is rooted in failure, unworthiness, or helplessness, even your successes will feel like flukes. You'll find a way to minimize them. You'll sabotage yourself before the next challenge even begins. That's not fate. That's belief masquerading as truth. Carl Rogers, one of the great humanistic psychologists, said that the most damaging thing to a person is the gap between their self-concept and their lived experience. If you see yourself as incapable, but then you start achieving, your mind will experience conflict. It won't trust the success. It won't integrate it. It will try to return you to the familiar story, even if that story is painful. And this is why changing your life begins with changing your self-concept. But let's be clear, this isn't about wishful thinking. This isn't about looking in the mirror and chanting affirmations you don't believe. That's superficial. That's not transformation. What we're talking about is deep internal work, examining the beliefs you inherited, the labels you accepted, the lies you swallowed whole. Maybe someone told you as a child that you were lazy or stupid, or that you'd never amount to anything. And maybe, without knowing it, You built your life around proving them right. That's the power of self-concept. But you don't have to stay there. You can reframe, you can rewrite, you can begin to say, not with arrogance, but with honesty, that you are someone capable of growth, someone worthy of respect, someone who, while flawed, is still becoming. That shift doesn't happen all at once, by decision, action by action. And as your behavior starts to align with a healthier view of yourself, your future starts to look different, not because the world changed, but because you did. So ask yourself this: what story have I been telling about who I am? And is it helping me grow or holding me back? Because when you shift your self-concept, you don't just change how you feel. You change what becomes possible. People treat you according to the standard you set for yourself. If you walk into the world already convinced that you're a fraud, others will subconsciously confirm it. But if you carry yourself with grounded belief, not bravado, but real inner steadiness, the world begins to respond differently. It doesn't mean every door opens. It means you stop knocking with a whisper. We've been sold a dangerous illusion that belief in yourself should come quickly, easily, like flipping a switch. Culture conditions us to chase instant results, instant confidence, instant success, instant self-love. But here's the problem: anything instant is almost always unstable. Fast food fills you, but it doesn't nourish you. Fast fame flatters, but it doesn't anchor. And fast self-belief, it feels good until life pushes back, and life will push back. When it does, anything built in haste collapses just as fast. That's the reality. The only belief that holds its shape under pressure is the kind built slowly, through repetition, through struggle, through effort you didn't want to make, but did anyway. This isn't just poetic language, it's grounded in psychology. There's a principle known as the competence-confidence loop. It's simple but powerful. The more you act, even if you stumble, even if it's messy, the more you develop skill. And as your skill grows, so does your confidence, not the other way around. You don't feel confident before you act. You become confident because you acted. But most people have it backwards. They sit still, waiting for belief to arrive like a gift. And while they wait, their life stays small. Bicesis. And what they don't realize is this mofi at believe. The first step isn't the reward of belief, it's the cause of it. It's the friction of movement, the discomfort of doing the thing you're not sure you can do that starts to shape you. The process is what builds the person, not the result, not the applause, the process. Belief isn't something you get, it's something you earn. Decision by decision, day after day. It's not flashy, it's not fast, but it's the only kind that endures. Philosophically, this speaks to the nature of becoming. In Aristotle's Ethics, he argues that we become virtuous not by thinking about virtue, but by practicing it. You don't become brave by avoiding fear. You become brave by facing fear over and over. Likewise, you don't become someone who believes in themselves by thinking your way into that mindset. You do it by living as if you already are, by taking steps even when you're uncertain, by speaking truth even when your voice shakes, by standing firm even when your knees want to buckle. And of course, you'll fail. You'll fall short. That's not just inevitable, it's necessary, because it's in those failures that your character is shaped. Every time you fall and get up, you send a signal to your subconscious: I'm someone who keeps going. That's belief, not perfection, persistence, not loud declarations, but quiet discipline.